आवाज मत करिए। Hello guys, welcome to the new video. Today we are going to discuss SQL in one short video from start to an end, and we will take the help of the website W3SCHOOL. This is a good website for learning SQL. So let's start with what say beginner concepts. So what is SQL? Here is the answer for you. SQL is a standard language for storing, manipulating, and retrieving data in database, right? So if we want to store data, want to manipulate data, or if we want to retrieve data from the database, so we can use this language SQL, structured query language. This is called. Wait a second. Right. No, I think Zoom is. Yes, this is good. So SQL is called. SQL is structured query language. All right. So in this, so there are softwares available, right, to run this SQL language. There are different softwares to manage database, right? So, for example, this is MySQL, and this is SQL Server, MS Access, Oracle, Sybase, Informatics, Postgres, and others database systems. These are all softwares. So don't confuse between SQL and MySQL. SQL is a language, and whereas MySQL is a software on which we manage our database, right? And we can run our what what we say SQL language. So, we will direct go for introduction of SQL, right? So what is SQL? SQL is a standard language for accessing and manipulating database, right? We have stored our data in database. So to access that data and make changes in that data, manipulate that data, we need a language which can make uh, we can communicate, which can communicate with the database, right? So this language is SQL, right? So here we see SQL is a standard query language. SQL lets you access and manipulate database, and SQL became a standard of the American National Standard Institute (NC) in 1986 and of International Organization for Standardization (ISO) in 1987. So this is a standard language, all right. So there are more languages could be available, but this is uh, National Standard Institute. Uh, this is the standard language. Okay? What can SQL do? So let's talk here. SQL can execute queries against database, right? So if we want to request something to do in our database, so these queries will be executed in SQL. SQL can retrieve data from a database, all right. SQL can insert record, or we can insert records in the database. We can update records. We can delete, create new databases, create new tables in a database, all right. So, so this particular line is that create new tables in a database means uh, we will discuss it because let's see here. We will discuss here what is table here doing, right? Right. So this is got stuck, I think. Right. So yes, first we make this clear. All right. So what is this? In this we are doing is what table. All right. So there is you hide out the term in your DBMS and RDBMS. Right. This is database management system, and this is relational database management system. All right. So what is the difference between these two? Difference in between these two is in DBMS we store data in any form. All right. But in RDBMS we store our data in form of tables. Table is what? It is a collection of collection of data in, in form. We say we can say table. We can define table as combination of rows and columns. Right? So let's discuss further. Create new tables in database. SQL can create stored procedures in a database and create views. Views is a different thing. Right? So this is a new thing for you. Views are like tables. We will study it further. Views are like tables, but these are virtual tables, right? We can say virtual tables. Virtual tables means that uh, virtual tables means what we can say that. uh, we can we can perform any operation on views as we can perform operation on tables, right? If we if a operation can be performed on tables, then that we can say that operation also can be performed on views, but it will be performed, but it will be performed virtually only. What virtually only means? The changes, right? Let's say what virtually only means. The changes is can't be shown in database, right? The view operation on view can't make changes in database, right? Only on table, we can say operation on tables can only make changes in database, right? So we will do this. SQL can set permissions on tables, all right, procedures and views. We will study procedures for further. Uh, SQL is a standard, but although SQL is INC or ISO standard, there are different versions of SQL language also. Right? However, to be compliant with the NC standard, they all support all at least major commands. All right. So there are different versions of SQL, but they at least support these major commands in all their versions. Commands are select, update, delete, and insert and where in a similar manner. Right? What is the note here? Most of the SQL database programs also have their own proprietary extensions and additions to SQL standard. So, so if we have, we can say MySQL or Oracle, these are two different database systems. These database systems can have different extensions on their own, but they all will, we can say, all will follow the SQL standard, right? Using SQL in a website to build a website that data shown from the database, you will need an RDBMS database program. You can say this. I told you the MySQL, SQL Server, MSX. These are all uh, system softwares for DBMS. In RDB, these all are RDBMS softwares. They store data in form of tables. Right? To use a server-side script language like PHP or ASP, right? To use SQL to get the data you want, and to use HTML CSS to install the page. So, so what we need, uh, if we want to show our data from database on a website, so we need these four technologies. A RDBMS database program. It can be from SQL Server or MySQL or Oracle or anything. Number two is to use a server-side script language. We need server-side scripting language like PHP or ASP, right? And to use SQL to get data you want, so we need SQL, so we can access our data. And to design the style the page, we need HTML and CSS, right? So what is IDBMS? IDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. This is the RDBMS is the basis of SQL. Alright. So main basis of SQL is RDBMS only. And for modern database systems such as MS SQL or SQL Server, IBM DB Database 2 version 2, Oracle MySQL and Microsoft Access, right? All are based on RDBMS. Right? Data in RDBMS is stored in a database object called tables. So tables are database objects. A table is a collection of related data entries and it consists of columns and rows. Look at the customers table. So, so if we want, we will see them next. So we will not get into this. Now we only get into theory. Alright. So let's see what does this say. So there is a database. Alright. So what is this? This is select asterisk means all the data from customer is a table, all right, which store data in form of rows. These are rows 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are columns: customer ID, customer name, contact name, right, address, city, postal code, and country. These are columns. So these are entries in database. This is the example only. So in database, in RDBMS, they store data in form of tables. All right. So let's not discuss this here. We'll discuss it further when we will code it. Right. So all right. Every table is broken up into small entities called fields. So we can fields are called columns. We can so let's say this is table. This is our table named customer. Right? And this have some columns. So let's say column name is your ID and this is number and this is address. We can say name, right? So let's say ID here is 1, 2, 3, 4. Number could be anything, alright? Name is let's say A, B, C and D. This is our table. So what is he saying is every table is broken up into small entities called fields. So these columns like name and number and ID are called fields, right? So we can break up the table in these entities like field 1, field 2 and field 3. There are 3 fields available here. So we can break up this. The field in a customer table consists of customer ID, customer name, in the previous example, right? Customer name, customer address, city, postal code and country. A field is a column in a table that is designed to maintain specific information about every record in the table. So this is important line. The field is used to maintain specific information about every record. All right, every record have that information. So we use field for this to store that specific information about every record. A record also called row, right? What is called record? Or a record is also called row is an individual entry that exists in a table. For example, there are 91 records in the above customer table. A record is a horizontal entity in a table. So what is a record here? You will see these are records only. Alright. This is record one. Record we call record our rows. Rows are also known as records because this is a record of customer name A of which ID is 1. This is record of customer B. This is record of customer C. And this is record of customer C D. Right? These are all records here. Alright. So we'll move further from here. SQL syntax we will discuss now. What is the syntax for SQL? Right. So wait a minute. We are